Hey guys, it's Jo and welcome back to my channel. I honestly have been having trouble filming this, editing this. Matter my laptop decides to act up on me. I have tried to film this again about 7 times. Like this is number 8 I think, or even number 10. I have no idea, but if you're seeing this, we finally made it. So welcome to the first episode of Wine, Sex and Chill. I'm excited to have you here. I hope you guys are excited. So yeah, grab your glass of wine, your whiskey, your coffee, your tea, your water, whatever you're having, just grab it. I'm going to be having hot water today because it's the last stages of our sore throats, so you know, we just want all of this to go, so let's just get right into it. Quick disclaimer, I am not a sexologist nor am I a sex therapist. I am just a psychologist who has sex experience, and I'm using my experience to help you guys out. So yeah. For today's episode, we're just going to be discussing like the basics of sex, an introduction to the series, and what we're going to be discussing further along. And I'm so excited that you guys are excited as well. I've been getting some amazing questions from you people, and the discussions we've been having on Instagram have been amazing, especially the last one on periods. So yay, it was so nice. So what is sex? We're going to have like a basic definition. I have my laptop here. So sex is sexual intercourse is primarily the insertion and thrusting of the penis, usually when erect, into the vagina for sexual pleasure, reproduction, or both. This is also known as vaginal intercourse or vaginal sex. It's sexual activity, including specifically sexual intercourse, either of the two main categories, male and female, into which humans and most other living things are divided on the basis of their reproductive functions. But we do not want that. We want the physical action itself. So that is basically the English definition of sex, and in the Bible, sex is actually defined as something for reproduction, you know, offsprings. Like in the Bible, God says go out there and reproduce, such thing. There's also an instant where I think it's either Lot or Job's son or nephew or somebody pulled out, like ejaculated outside of the woman, and he was actually killed by God for doing that. So it further cements that sex is for reproduction and stuff. But for me, sex is more of a communication. It's a connection between somebody. It's getting to know somebody else and getting to understand them deeper, because hey, you can be friends with somebody, you know, you have that conversation going, and that's how you get to know each other. But you can be with somebody else and you get to know them through sex. So sex for me is an exploration. It's a way of finding yourself, and once you find your sexuality, to me, I believe you start finding yourself and realizing who you are. I hope that makes sense. And if I'm talking too fast, I'm trying to avoid having my mother come into the house when I'm talking. She knows I have sex and stuff, but this would be awkward. But anywho, yeah, for me, that's what sex is, you know. Yes, it's a form of communication. It's a deeper understanding. It's my soul getting to understand your soul, you know. When I started off, it was more of a rebellion, more of my hormones just going out and mad. If you didn't know, I was diagnosed with endometriosis when I was 16, but thankfully it cleared out, and I was on birth control pills for about a year. So that also affected my hormones. Like I somehow got I stopped looking at boys just as boys, but started looking at boys as, you know, that kind of situation. And it really jump-started me having sex. And my first sexual encounter was horrid. It was horrible. Like, I am jealous of those of you who have had amazing sexual experiences. Like, your first experience was amazing. Mine was just, yeah, firstly, like the actual thing, like the actual losing my virginity, like my hymen breaking. I was being fingered and that happened, and I was just like, very anticlimactic. Okay, let's move on with life. And then when we actually got into the physical act of penetration, it was painful, it was uncomfortable, I just didn't feel right. And after that, I didn't have sex for about a year, you know, because it was so, I was like, this is what people talk about. This is not how it's in the movies. Like, no, like, yuck, what is this? I don't want. So the next time I had sex, it was very rough, very uncomfortable yet again. And I was still trying to figure out, okay, what are people so excited about? Me, my hormones were raging, so it was something I had to release because my hormones were just all over the place. But that actual connection with somebody was just you know, like, why am I doing this? It was the same with alcohol. Like, you know, you're getting drunk, then in the morning you're asking yourself, why did I do this? You know, that kind of situation. How it was for me. When I had my actual first sexual experience, the first one where my mind was blown, that I was like, wow, was actually 2 years ago, 2016, July to be precise, I think. It's about the time, so around the same time Rihanna's album came out. It's about that time. So here I was sitting at home. I'm home alone. My sister has gone for some, I think she had gone for a sleepover or something. I am bored, so I go on Snapchat. Then Rihanna's song, this song of hers, Kiss Me Better. Yes, Kiss Me Better is playing in the background, and I'm Snapchat, you know, just being bored, I was just bored and just needed something to do. So this friend of mine, yes, we were friends. We became friends in 2012, so we'd been friends for about 4 years. But it was also for, hi, how you doing? Is that what's up? Cool. You easy? I'm easy. Easy, whatever. So he responds to one of my snaps and goes, we have a conversation. Then he goes like, so you have cuddles and a movie on Sunday. I'm like, yeah, cool, easy, come through. One thing led to another, and wow, like, first of all, we climaxed together. That has never happened to me before. And I was like, wow. And then it was very sensual, very, our bodies getting to know each other. Not, you know, you can have sex just to have sex, but this was very sensual, from the way he kissed me, to the way he touched me, to the way, it was like a conversation on its own. And that's when I realized that what I've been having was just basic sex. Like, it was just releasing that energy, you know, when you're frustrated. It was just that's what I was having. I wasn't having sex to have a conversation, to have a connection, to have an experience. So when that happened, I was like, what just happened? And trust me, this is a guy that I do not look like at, oh wow, like I want to be with him. Like, we'd just been friends. Like, I had never had the thought of him like that. And I think for the same as with him, because it was just like, he's not my usual type of guy. Like, if you look at him and look at the guys I've dated, they're totally different. But that's when I realized that something my aunt had said. My aunt had told me in 2012 when I was in South Africa that do not determine a guy by the way he looks. And I was just like, what do you mean? Like, that doesn't make sense. But then when it happened with this one, I was like, oh yeah, thank you, you are right. So that's when I stopped having this notion for, oh my god, he's a hot guy, he's going to be good in bed. I've been with somebody who looks he's very good looking, like, you wouldn't mind looking at him, but in bed it was an ass story. So yeah, just take my word for it. Don't look at somebody face first and think maybe they're not good looking so they can't do anything. Hey, those are the ones who will destroy you, I tell you. So yeah, it was like that. And that was my actual first sexual relationship, you know. So with him, sex was good, the friendship is good, and it's so since we're friends first, sex is just a benefit. But I'll discuss all this in the next episode, which is we're just going to be discussing sexual relationships, because I need to do a poll on Instagram and get a few views from you guys so that we can have an open discussion about that. And yeah, so that's what basically sex is for me. Sex needs to be an experience, because your whole body, your mind, your emotion, your soul is being put into that moment. You get, like, you're using every single piece of you, excuse me, you're using every single piece of you to experience this. It's a full body experience, full mental experience, full emotional experience, full soul experience. So since then, that was my first sexual relationship, I said, and then now currently I am in a sexual relationship, and it's been a good 3 weeks. Yeah. But we'll discuss that one next month. And so yeah, as I said, sex is a conversation, and the whole reason I'm doing this again is to get this notion out that women don't have sex. Women, we have sex. Like, bruh, we enjoy sex. At least I do enjoy sex. And to get this whole mentality that if you have more than one sexual partner, you're a hoe, or if you enjoy sex, you're just a slut. Like, you know, your mind should be focused on other things. What other things? Sex is very natural. Like, it's such a natural experience. And this is also not me trying to teach you how to have sex, like sexual positions, what you should do for your man. No, we're going to have topics about it. We're going to talk about it, but I won't tell you like this is what you need to do. Some maybe a few tips and here, but I don't want this to be like a pornographic conversation. It's a more of an educational conversation, you know. And also, if you are waiting to have sex after marriage, you know, that's for you. I'm not here to shame any people. I'm not here to change anybody's beliefs. This is just me. And if I've been asked this question, and somebody asked if my sexual experience did happen, would I still be okay with waiting for sex after marriage? And for me, it's a no. Like, I think it's such a big part of me, not a huge part of me. It's part of who I am. So yeah, I think I'm okay, you know, being sexually active. I'm okay experiencing things. Like, I wouldn't take my virginity back, although I would take it back and give it to somebody else, because the person who I gave it to was just another story. But yes, I am okay how my journey has progressed, because everything in life is a journey. Sex is a journey, love is a journey, relationships are journeys. So I'm okay with how my journey is progressing, and it makes me who I am. I honestly think if I wasn't sexually active, I wouldn't be the way I am. But hey, maybe I'm wrong, you know. Those are some of the questions in life we ask each other. But yeah, you know. And also, some of you were concerned about the criticism and the judgment that this conversation is going to get, and I'm like, let it come. I am scared. I think that's also been having malfunctions filming this episode. But I'm like, let it come. This is a conversation that needs to be had by women, you know, because we're always, when it comes to sex, we're put in the back burner. Like, you know, we're just here to give people babies, and like, excuse you, I know some people don't want to have babies, so you're telling me them they can't have sex, you see. And also from an African perspective, because it's such a taboo, talking about sex, menstruation, you know, such things are such taboos. Like, don't talk about them. These are conversations for behind closed doors. Like, I honestly wish I had this conversation when I was a teenager, you know, the sex conversation, like what sex actually is, because I didn't have. I had to experience and explore and get hurt along the way. Like, I've gotten hurt so many times because of sex, you know. I've had my heart broken thinking that I like somebody and they like me back, yet they were just out here to use me for sex, and then move on to the next one, you know. I've been in a situation where it has just been rubbed in my face that I'm just being used, and you know, and it breaks you as a person. So that's what I'm trying to avoid for, you know, our younger generation and people who are just starting out, because human beings are cruel. Human beings are, I don't know why we're so mean and hurtful. Like, come on, this is somebody you're breaking. Don't you feel it inside you when you're breaking somebody else? Because, hey, me, even if I take a bite out of your plate, I'll be like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, you know, kind of situation. So, yeah, and then, I had a thought, but that thought has gone, you know. Also, yeah, we have this conversation in our small groups, you know, me and my girlfriends, we talk about, ooh, that guy, ooh, this guy, or this and this and this, but yet we can't have them openly with everybody else, because it's something that's happening, and, you know, and it's just a conversation I feel that we need to have. And I've been thinking about it since 2016. It's just that this year I was like, you know what, Joan, you have so much in here, just come out with it. If it works, if it works. If it doesn't, you know, it's a learning lesson, it's a curve. I want this thing, for the first thing you think about a woman and sex, you just think of her being a slut. No, I don't want that. And we're going to talk about safe sex, and not only physical safe sex, but emotional and mental safe sex. We're going to talk about, you know, having these open discussions with people, because So many people are just jumping into sex, then getting caught up in the emotions. Then all of a sudden you find yourself in a situationship, and then you don't know what to do. Like, even before you have that first kiss, you need to have that conversation. And maybe my partner right now will I'll ask him and see if he'll allow me to have a discussion on how he started, because he's not very social media okay. He's not on social media and stuff, and you know, it's a two-way thing, so I need to respect him as well. So yeah, we'll talk about that. And this conversation is open. Like, I want it to be an open environment. If there are any trolls or haters, you me and my finger are best friends with a delete button. Best friends. So, you know, it's an open conversation. I want no judgment. I want no hating. I want nothing of that, you know. Let's take each other as sisters, you know. Like, I'm your big sister. Like, yeah, I may look very tiny, but I'm your big sister. Talk to me. Let's have a conversation. If you have any questions, ask. Like, bring them on. We're going to talk about masturbation. We're going to talk about, you know, same-sex situations. We're going to talk about everything and anything that sex entails. Sex is a broad spectrum. Like, there's so much underneath the blanket of sex, and we're going to talk about it. Okay, and yeah, I think I've said, I don't know, like, you guys let me know what you want to talk. Like, let's have a conversation. And if you want me to increase the episodes, let me know, because I'm working with a plan for one episode a month. So we're going to have 12 this month, 12 this year, I mean, so like that. So not to have it all in your face all the time, and to even give it space so that we can discuss things that were talked about in the previous episodes. And if you want other guys to come into the conversation, like me recording with other people, like my friends and stuff, that who are on the same line with me, because I was having a discussion, more of a eye-rolling discussion with somebody about a situation in sexual relationships, and I'm just like, if you think like that, like, the more reason for me to have this conversation, because people's minds are so rigid. Like, sex has been put in such a box that whatever is in that box is what goes, and honestly it is not. Like, when I started reading about sex, and I started reading books and articles and stuff on sex and situations like that, I was like, wow, whatever we were taught in school does not compare. Whatever you hear, these small conversations between ourselves, does not compare. Like, there is so much. Then your sexual health, you know, taking care of yourself, your lady parts, your gent parts and stuff, like circumcised versus uncircumcised, condom versus non-condom, birth control pill versus no birth control pill, you know, those conversations. That's what I want us to have. So to me, I think sex is not only a necessity, but an experience, as I said. And it's something that if you're doing it, I'd rather you do it well. Like, I have a new rule: no sex is better than bad sex, and I will explain that in another episode, because I don't want to bombard all episodes and stuff with so much information. But yeah, no sex is better than bad sex, and I've had plenty of bad sex to know that it's never that serious. Like, it's not a must you have sex. Yes, it's a way of getting rid of stress. Yes, it's a way of exploring. Yes, it's a way of finding yourself, but it's not a must. If you don't want to have it, don't have it, and your no is a no. Like, there are a few things I'm going to be cementing, that your no is a no. Like, when you say no, your partner should be able to understand that you've said no. If that person keeps insisting, please move away. Like, I know it's hard at times to leave a situation, but if that person doesn't understand your no, like, they wouldn't be able to respect you enough to give you what you need, okay? And Chris and I, if you read my blog post on my 2017 Goodbye Life Lessons, my partner gave himself the name Chris because he's not on social media, and he doesn't want to be all up in this situation. So he gave we have a joke between us that if majority of the world's problems would be fixed if people had sex, because people are so frustrated, people are so angry, people are so wound up and tied up that, you know, sex is good to release. Like, look at me, I'm so relaxed, happy, as much as I have so much going on. You wouldn't tell, because, you know, taking care of myself. Like, you need to take care of yourself from every aspect. Emotionally, you need to take care of yourself emotionally. If you want to have a cry, if you want to have a scream, go right ahead, please do that, because it gets rid of that stress. Mentally, I've been reading more, I've been taking time for myself, and if situations come about where I don't need to deal with them, I won't deal with them. Physically, I'm eating better. Like, I don't know if you guys can see the weight coming on my face, like, so excited, man. So yeah, physically I'm eating more, I'm drinking lots of water. If I can, I go for walks. I'm even joining the gym, so you know, to get my physical working. And then sexually, when I get frustrated, I'll just call or text Chris and I'm like, yo, are you home? And he's like, yeah, okay, I'm on the way, and stuff like that. And yeah, like, let's have this conversation. So as always, if you guys have any comments or questions, just leave them down below and we shall discuss them. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.